I'm Josephine Lane, the editorial project manager for Ian Fleming Publications. I've been on the judging panel of the Ian Fleming Steel Dagger for the last 3 years, and I'm going to become the chair next year. Ian Fleming said there was one essential ingredient for a good thriller, that one simply has to turn the pages, so that's what our judges are looking for when seeking out the winner. The Ian Fleming Steel Dagger is for the widest definition of thriller novels and can be set in any period and includes spy fiction and action-adventure stories. I'm always really impressed by the quality and variety of the thrillers that are entered each year. The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins is an intriguing and very snappily written thriller that focuses on relationships, specifically asking the question, how well can you ever really know someone? Rachel catches the same commuter train every morning, one that's habitually delayed on the same stretch of track, which gives her ample opportunity to peer into the back gardens of the houses that border the railway line. She's been doing this for years that have seen her lose her job and develop a serious problem with alcohol, and now she feels she almost knows the people she can see from her window, building her own interpretation of their lives from the snatched glances she gets on an almost daily basis. But when she sees something that shocks her one day, everything changes, and she's presented with the chance to become a part of the lives she's only watched from afar. The judges felt that the character of Rachel was an interesting departure as the main protagonist and showed ordinary, flawed people tangled up in a crime. It's gripping from the first to the last, and we felt that Paula Hawkins had built on her career in journalism to bring us a really impressive first thriller. Cop Town by Karin is a fascinating story filled to the brim with rich and evocative period detail of Atlanta in 1974. Karin Slaughter, herself based in Atlanta, introduces us to Kate Murphy on her first day at work on the police force, just as a brutal killing and furious manhunt rocks the city. Teaming up with Maggie Lawson, Kate's colleague and saviour in the male-dominated world of the police department, they are both keen to prove their worth. Sidelined in the search for the killer and with the knowledge that the killer is poised to strike again, Kate and Maggie reach breaking point and determine to risk everything with their own line of investigation, penetrating the city's darkest heart. The judges found the characters to be instantly real, engaging, well-drawn and convincing, helping the reader to be pulled through this dark and twisted story to the very end. Patrick Hoffman's The White Van proves he's a major new talent, and we're confident we'll see him back again in future years. With a history as a writer and private investigator based in New York, you can be assured you're in safe hands in this gritty portrait of San Francisco lowlife. When Emily Rosario, drinking whiskey in a dive bar in San Francisco's Tenderloin district, is approached by a mysterious and wealthy Russian, she thinks her luck is in. Looking for an escape from her dreary and drug-addict boyfriend, she thinks the Russian will provide the exit she's looking for. She willingly goes towards the new future she thinks she wants. A week later, finding herself drugged, disoriented, and wanted for robbery, she's no longer so sure. Hoffman writes in a spare, grimy, poetic prose that never strains after effect. The plot rattles along and never feels contrived, providing plenty of twists that surprise until the end. Missing by Sam Hawken is such a powerful story about the horrors of lawlessness just across the US border of Mexico. We're introduced to Jack Searle, a widowed man with 2 stepdaughters, Lydia and Marina, living in the border town of Laredo, with the girl's Mexican family just the other side. When Marina, the eldest, wants to visit her cousin and go to a concert, Jack eventually agrees. The girls get ready and go, but they never come back. The story, which is very soberly written, has sympathetic characters on both sides of the border, from Jack, whose increasingly desperate search shows a touching father-daughter relationship, to Gonzalo Sola, a Mexican cop whose search for the girls isn't stopped by the increasing corruption of his town. Sam Hawken has used his knowledge of the US-Mexican border to great effect. This is his 3rd novel set there, and paints a vivid and gritty picture, but one that is completely compelling for the reader. The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson is compelling from beginning to end and is a genuinely intriguing story. When Ted Severson meets a woman in an airport bar, he couldn't have predicted the way the conversation would go. Facing a serious delay, they end up drinking cocktails and, after telling each other rather more than they should, a dark plan is hatched. We're presented with a strong cast of anti-heroes, none of whom are what they seem. Can Ted go through with the plan? What are the chances of getting away with it? And what secrets does Miranda, Ted's wife in Boston, hold herself? This is an intelligent story, sublimely plotted, to keep you guessing right to the last page with enjoyable twists and turns. Nobody Walks by Mick Herron is a pacey and enjoyable read. As a previous Gold Dagger winner for Dead Lions, he's already familiar to the Dagger judges, and we were excited to get our teeth into this new book. Set in the same fictional London as Herron's Slough House series, we're introduced to Tom Bettany, an ex-spook with a violent past and the desire to avenge the sudden death of his estranged son. Bettany is soon caught up in the world of high-tech billionaires and drug-dealing criminals, as he realises that all is not as it seems with his son's death. The judges found this to be a taut, brutal thriller told with a smart dash of wit. If you like your suspense novels excellently plotted and filled with lots of twists and turns, then Herron's your man. The novel is filled with interesting and well-drawn characters, and you can't help but be compelled from the very first page. In The Night the Rich Men Burned, the talented Malcolm Mackay presents us with a grimy tale of Glasgow loan sharks and debt collectors. Another past Dagger shortlisted entrant, this time for the CWA John Creasy New Blood Dagger for Best Crime Debut of the Year, Mackay knows Glasgow, having been born and bred in Stornoway, where he still lives. The Night the Rich Men Burned is his fourth novel, and the experience shows. It moves along at a great pace and is well structured. Mackay is an utterly distinctive writer, spearheading Glasgow noir to great effect. The novel alternates between many different characters, providing us with varied viewpoints. This technique, in less assured hands, could get confusing, but here it just adds to the richness of these complex characters. Two friends, Alex Glass and Oliver Peter Kinney, look for work and for escape from their lives spent growing up on Glasgow's most desperate fringes. Meanwhile, the three most powerful rivals in the business vie for prominence. Before long, violence will spill out onto the streets, as those at the top make deadly attempts to outmaneuver one another for a bigger share of the spoils. Peter Kinney and Glass will find themselves at the very centre of this war, and as the pressure builds, each will find their actions and inactions coming back to haunt them.